We'll have more football in the spring, and we've seen it before, and hopefully the fans will enjoy what they're watching. And it's a league that will allow some players that fall in the category of you made the last cut and then you got cut, or you're a practice squad player, and you have a league to go to now where we can develop these players. And no different than the D League and in the National Basketball Association, in golf and the .com tours, those type of things, where a lot of these players need refinement and they need fundamentals and they need to play. And the problem you have anymore in the National Football League is that the practice are a little bit different than they were a long time ago when you could actually practice football. You can't do that anymore. So it's really difficult to evaluate players and to develop players. This league will allow it. We're going to start in March. That's when we go to camp. We're going to go down in Florida. There's going to be eight teams in this league, and hopefully we can develop some quarterbacks and some tackles and some offensive linemen and some players that eventually will have a chance in the league to play.
Well, and as you mentioned, the direction. What is the direction? It sounds like and I agree with you. Some of the offensive line play. We just had Sal Powell on earlier, and he said how weak the line play is in the offensive line, the offensive linemen in the NFL, just trying to develop guys who can get the techniques and the skills.
Exactly. And you can't do it anymore because you're limited to padded practices that you can have. Even in training camp, during the season, you only get 14 padded practices, believe it or not. And so how are you going to develop young guys? It's impossible to do it. So it puts a burden on the coaches. And for the players, they sit there and they want to play, but how do you play? You have to play football. Practice is one thing. You have to actually play this game if you're going to get better at it.
Herm Edwards, he joins Major League Football. And, we've heard Canadian League, you get the Arena League, but do you think that this will be closer to the NFL look and feel in terms of if you want to get into the league, will this be the best opportunity for these players?
Well, yeah, I do. Canada has limitations on American players, as we know, and it's a great league up there. The indoor football is a whole entirely different deal. It's not played with NFL rules or NFL fields. So I think it's a place where let's just consider this, and I'll tell you the story quickly. Brandon Moore was the player I had. He was a guard that played for the Jets. And before he was a guard, he was actually a defensive tackle. So we get him his first year, and I looked at him and I said, look, after training camp was going on, I said, look, I'm going to send you to the World League. He looked at me and said, Coach, you're trying to cut me. I said, no, I'm not. I said, I think you're a guard, but we need to develop you. And I said, I can't develop you here in practice and, being a practice squad player. So you need to go play and learn how to play this position. And so he goes over to the World League. He comes back, and next year he's a starting guard for 11 seasons for the Jets, ended up being a Pro Bowl guard. So, these players need this. And it's a league that I think that fans will enjoy because these will be some of the stars of the future. We've seen this happen before. So hopefully we can get it off going, and it'll develop some players that eventually a lot of fans will see them and go, you know what, that guy was used to playing in the developmental league, and now all of a sudden they're playing on my football team.
Yeah, and obviously there's situations where I guess with players drafted, how are all the Major League Football players going to be available? Are they going to just scan practice squads and stuff like that? What kind of players are we looking at in terms of building a roster?
Well, we're talking about young players because that's how you want to develop. You want to develop young players, 2 years out of college, or a guy, let's say, gets cut. Let's say a guy in Philadelphia makes the last cut and he gets cut. Where does he go? He has to wait. He's waiting for a phone call to hopefully somebody gets hurt, right? Or he has to wait another year to get a contract, maybe with this team or another team. Well, all that time, guess what? He's just sitting around working out. Well, from March until July, you can actually play in a league where you have tape, where coaches can say, you know what, look at how this guy's developed over the last 6 months. And then you'll still be eligible to go play in the league and go to training camp in August.
By the way, the website is MLFB.com, MajorLeagueFootball.com. They're having their first tryout camps in November here against across cities in the United States. So more football, and I think, as you mentioned, the development of football players, because I'll ask you, Herm, the product's not great right now. It has been tough to watch. The officiating's been poor, and I guess some of the reason the officiating's poor is because the gameplay is really poor.
Well, that and it's funny you say that because this league is about coaches and officials as well. So we're trying to develop them all, man. We're trying to put a better product out there for people to watch and see, and I think it's exciting. I think it'll be exciting for a lot of players that want an opportunity, especially if you're an agent. You got a player that you feel like, he got hurt the first week of training camp. He couldn't participate. They cut him. Now what do I do with the guy? Well, now you can he can come to our league, obviously participate, get some good coaching, and hopefully get another opportunity.
Herm, well, I got you. I want to ask you a couple questions on this Eagle-Cowboy game. Both teams have been dreadful in very many aspects. Obviously, the Dallas situation with the quarterback being out. But what are you seeing with Sam Bradford and Philadelphia and then Chip Kelly offense here? It hasn't gone according to plan this year, has it?
Well, it hasn't. It got off to a slow start, but there's so many moving parts. You're talking about new offensive linemen, a pair of new running backs, a quarterback that hadn't played in 2 years. And I'm not making excuses. That's the reality of it. And it's always more difficult on offense because you play with the football. That's the problem. Defense, hey, see ball, go get ball. Go play hard. Go tackle somebody. Offense, a lot of moving parts. And the way this offense is designed, you need a quarterback that's very accurate. You need an offensive line that has consistent blocking. That's all offensive lines, as we know. And you need receivers to catch the ball. I mean, there's been, 25 drops by this receiving core. That's just so far this season. They're not even halfway through the season. So I just think those things, and they've really struggled in the red zone and on third down. There's been a lot of third and longs, and that's why the time of possession always looks the way it looks. 26 minutes of time of possession, offense and defense carries the load. But on the flip side of it, the defense has been playing pretty good. 19 takeaways. They lead the league in that. Only 15 sacks, but the team, I think that when you look at this division, they win this game, and they're right there with the Giants again. Somebody's going to win this division winning 9 games, probably.
I would agree with that. And you flip over to Dallas. Obviously, the quarterback situation's been awful down there, but they haven't won a game. I mean, they couldn't scratch out not one, but they're still in it. If they don't win a game before Romo gets back, they'd be 2-7. Do they have enough time, and is it conceivable to think that Romo can run the table?
It'll be very difficult because he's going to be rusty as well. I mean, he'll give them energy, but it's like anything else. You miss that much football, you're going to be rusty. No different than Big Ben was rusty this first game. He threw 3 picks. He comes back, and that's hard to put on a quarterback like that. And they haven't established a run like they did last year as well. Now, McFadden ran pretty well last week. Their defense has gotten a little bit better. Hardy has helped that. Obviously, they're going to get some guys well over there. But they have been not very consistent on offense at all. As you just said, they lost 5 in a row and have failed to score a touchdown in the last 2 games. How about that?
They've been brutal to watch offensively. Yeah. Their defense is pretty good, though, and Chip Kelly came in here with offense. Herm, you coach in this league. When you observe Chip Kelly in his 3rd year, is it people have caught on? Is it they don't have the talent? What are you observing about Chip Kelly in year number 3?
Well, I do know this, that there's no threat outside the numbers for them as far as wide receiver. No one scares them, I think, when you watch them play, okay? And the next thing is that they've been very inconsistent running the football in this sense. Can't make a decision who to play. Is it Murray or is it Matthews? You got to play one of them. Matthews right now is the better runner, in my opinion. Right now, that's what I see. You have a quarterback that's limited. He's accurate at times, but he's not very mobile. There lies the problem. Because if you're going to run the option, and he doesn't run it a lot with Sam, and he can't because Sam is no threat and he's worried about getting him hurt. But this offense is based on that. That gets the receiver, that gets the quarterback or the runner to the edge. That's a different element. Right now they're playing with 2 prongs of it because the quarterback can't run. When he can run, that's the 3rd wheel. We see Cam Newton doing that. We see Russell Wilson doing that. I mean, that poses a problem when you can do that. We saw Johnny Manziel last night doing that. So that's not an element of this quarterback, not due to the fact that Chip doesn't want to run it because he's putting him in a position where he can be successful and stay in the pocket and run play action. But when you stick that ball in the belly of that runner defensively, you know one thing. I got to defend two things, either the runner or it's a play action pass. Never the quarterback.
No doubt about it, and we've watched it really struggle. It's been clunky, but 3-4 against 2-5, and of course, former Eagle Herm Edwards now Major League Football. Guys, check that out. Football fans, a new spring league that Herm's going to be a part of, and that will be something to keep an eye on to watch the development. Because I agree with you, the league has been very tough to watch, very clunky to watch. To develop some of these players, a very good move for football, and we appreciate you coming on with that and giving us a couple minutes on the Eagles and the Cowboys this Sunday night.
Thank you, my friend.